Hello to all. So here we are on the lesson of 7th of April. That's going to be a Tuesday's lesson for you. So I hope just yesterday what you have learned, you did not get confused. Okay. So yesterday we just learned the first part of the lesson. That's either we were checking the equations are consistent or inconsistent. Now, for those who have forgotten what is inconsistent and what is consistent solutions, inconsistent system means the system does not have any solution, and that was when the lines are parallel, when the slopes were the same. So when the slopes were the same but the y-intercepts were different, we said it does not have solution, so it was inconsistent, right? But if the equation was talking about the same slope and the same y-intercept, that means they're basically talking about the same line, so that we said it has at least one solution and the system is consistent. Now, for those who have not watched yesterday's video, you have to watch it very carefully. Only then we can move on with this part of the lesson. So I also told you before I stopped yesterday, try to do question number 3, 4, 6, and 7. So first, before we start today's lesson, let's check the answers, whether how you have proved the system has no solution. That's for question 3 and 4, and for question 6 and 7 you need to prove that it has infinitely many solutions. Okay, so all what I asked you to do was there were 3 ways to do it. Either you graph it, either you use the substitution method or this elimination method, or we have to change the equations to y-intercept form and then we compare it. And as I told you, the y-intercept forms are quite easier for us. So let's check how do we solve this one to show that there is no solution. Now already one part of this is in the y-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. Only we need to change this. So let's change it. That's going to be y is equal to, why is it not typing? Okay, y equals to, that's going to be negative 3x plus 6. Now I'm again not going to repeat all those steps. How did the 3x become negative? Why is the 6? I'm not going to repeat all this because we are not at the point where you need explanation at all. You just move the 3x to the other side. That's going to become negative 3x plus 6. Now let's compare the slopes. So one of the equation is y is equal to negative 3x plus 6, and the other equation is negative 3, y is equal to negative 3x. It must not be clear because it's up and down, but as I talk, you can understand what we are doing. Okay, now here, as you saw, the slopes are the same, right? Now, if the slopes are the same, that means the lines are parallel. Okay, so if the line slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are different, that means the slopes, they are talking about 2 parallel lines. So this means we are going to say that because the slopes are same and the y-intercepts are different, the lines are parallel. So they don't have, so parallel, so the system has no solution. Now I'm writing it in a very short way, so no solution, but you have to write it properly. So the system has no solutions. So this is how you are going to prove it. So this was for question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4 again. This one is minus y. Now you know when you are writing in slope intercept form, the y cannot have a negative sign. So all what you're going to do here is you will have to change it. So y is going to be equal to negative 4x because you'll multiply the whole equation, and negative 1. Because to remove this minus, you will give minus to multiply each of the other side with minus 1. So minus 1 will become minus 4x. Minus 1 multiplied by positive 1 will become again minus. So that's going to be y is equal to minus 4x minus 1. And in the next equation, I'm talking about this equation, that's going to be equal to, you just have to make it equal to, y is equal to minus 4x plus 2. Now, although the y-intercepts are different, the slopes are the same. So which means if the slopes are same, again you will have, that means that's going to be they are going to be parallel lines. So you have to give the same one again. These lines are parallel, the slopes are the same, and the y-intercepts are different. So you have to say that the lines are parallel, so they do not have solution. The system is inconsistent here. These are the words we use. The system is inconsistent because they're parallel lines, so they do not have solutions. I hope you have written in your own words, but in a correct way. Okay, now moving to question number 6. Again, you have to prove that this system has many solutions. Many solutions means either you have to, again, you can use the same way. Okay, so I told, if I don't know whether I told you about the dependent and independent system. I think I explained you about independent. Independent means it has exactly one solution. Dependent means it has infinitely many solutions. Okay, so again, this is already in the slope intercept form. We just need to only remove this one, change this. So before we change, you can see the -4 is on this side, so we move that to the other side. That becomes a +4. Now I'm not going to go into the detail of all these steps. So that's going to be y is equal to 2x will become -2x, right? And that will give you +4. Now here, if you look at this, y is equal to 2x minus 4, y is equal to -2x plus 4. Both the intercepts are different and both their slopes are different. So if they are all having different slopes and they are having different what do you call different slopes and different intercepts, that means this system has one solution. Sorry, it has many solutions because they both are different. So we say this as they are dependent systems because they have infinitely many solutions. So this is how you need to be proving that they have they have many solutions. Fine. So the next one, you already have -7x plus y minus 2. Okay, now for this part, again, let's write it in the y-intercept form. So y is going to be equal to 7x plus 2. Sorry, is it minus? Yeah, it's -2. So 7x minus 2, because the -7x will become +7x when it moves to the other side. And in this equation, that's going to be y is equal to, that's going to be 7x again, okay, and -2. So here, when they are if you look, and how did this 7x become again 7x? 7x moves to the other side, it becomes -7x. But when you have the minus sign with the y, you have to multiply that. So that becomes 7x minus 2. So both the slopes and the y-intercepts are same, which means basically they're talking about the same line. They're talking about the same line. Again, when they have the same line, that means you can have infinitely many solutions because they're talking about the same line. Now, for today's lesson, I told you we'll be learning the other part of the lesson. That is going to be, they will give you the systems, and then you have to say that how many solutions they have, whether they are consistent and independent, or if they are consistent and dependent, and if they're inconsistent means they have no solution. Now, what are all these we are talking about? You can go to the previous page and check that out. The definitions are given for you. Quickly, let me even then summarize. Consistent, if you can write it down, do write it down. It'll be easier for you to decide whether it is consistent or inconsistent. Now, consistent systems have at least one solution. I'll go slow, you can note it down. Consistent systems have at least one solution. Inconsistent systems have no solution. Okay, then independent systems have exactly one solution, and dependent systems have infinitely many solutions. So how do we guess? How do we get how many number of solutions do each system have? It depends. If it is inconsistent, it has no solution. Okay, inconsistent means if the slopes are the same but the y-intercepts are different, means the lines are parallel. So that means it does not have any solution. Please girls, you need to listen very carefully to what I am saying. Only then we can go on with the lesson. Okay, so inconsistent means the lines are parallel. Parallel means the slopes are going to be the same, but the intercepts will be different. So that means it has no solution. So that's when the system becomes inconsistent. Now, if it is consistent, that means it has to be at least one solution. Now, from these, we need to find out whether it is consistent. If it is consistent, then also we have to find out whether it is independent or dependent. If the system is consistent, we have to find out whether the system is independent or dependent. If it is independent, it will have one solution, exactly one solution. And if it is independent, it means it will have infinitely many solutions. Okay. So let's find out. It's easy. It's not as difficult as I saw. Now this part, just look at this part here. 2y equals x plus 2 minus half x plus y equals 1. So what's the first thing we are going to do? We are going to change all of them to y-intercept form. So when you change this to y-intercept form, how is that going to be? That's going to be y is equal to x plus 2 divided by 2, because we have to get rid of this 2. So when you divide each of the like this right side with 2, that's going to give you, now you know there's an invisible one here, right? So when you know that there is an invisible one, okay, so when you know there's an invisible one, when you divide this side by 2, that's going to become a half, right? So when you divide 2 by 2, that's going to give you a 1. So that's how this equation became y is equal to half x plus 1. Okay, now the same thing here already, like it's half x. So when we move to the other side, it becomes negative half x will become positive half x plus 1. So if you see here, the slopes are the same, the intercepts are the same, which means basically they're talking about the same line. And from the yesterday's lesson, what did we learn? If they are talking about the same line, that means the system is consistent. It has at least one solution. And now once you know the equation has at least one solution, the system has at least one solution, then check if it is dependent or independent. Now, if you're talking about the same line, okay, that means the slope is the same, the intercept is the same, it has to be a dependent system. Why? Dependent system has infinitely many solutions. Now it's the same line. So from the same line, you can find out many solutions. They're not talking about two different lines. They're talking about the same line. So that's why they wrote as the system is consistent and dependent. So if the system is consistent and dependent, it has infinitely many solutions. Okay. I hope you understood that part. If the line system is talking about the same line, it is consistent and dependent. Dependent because it has many solutions. Okay, that will become more clear when we solve this one. Y is equal to, of course, you know, 2x minus 2. Y is equal to x plus 1. Now here, the system again, the slopes are different and the intercepts are different, which means they are completely two different lines. Okay, they are talking about two different lines because the intercepts are different as well as the slopes are different. Okay, now when the slopes are different, when the intercepts are different, they are talking about two different lines. Now when they have two different lines, they will only intersect at one point, right? Because you have drawn graphs, now you know that much, you can understand. When they are two different lines, they will only meet at one place. So that's why because they meet at one place, it will have only one solution. So if the system is consistent, yes, because they're talking about two different lines. So because they're talking about two different lines, the system is consistent because it will at least have one solution. Now, if you know, when you know the system is consistent, check if it is dependent or independent. So if it is dependent, it will have many solutions, but these are two different lines. So when two different lines are there, they will just cross at one point. That means it is independent because it will have only one solution. So this is why, that's why they wrote the system is consistent and independent and it has one solution. So this is how you are going to write. I will try my best to summarize all these things and take a picture and put on Edmodo. I will try my best. If I can, I will do it. Okay, now to make it more clear, let's solve 3b. Okay, so this one, first let's solve this part. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 2, because negative 2 into x will give you negative 2x, negative 2 into negative 1 will give you plus 2. What's the next system they have given? It's already in the slope intercept form, so you don't need to worry. Y is equal to negative x plus 3. Okay, here check the slopes. Slopes are different, intercepts are different, which means again they are two different lines. They are not the same line. So first decide, is the system consistent? Now there are two different lines, which means they will have at least one solution. So means the solution is consistent, right? Because they are two different lines, they will have at least one solution. And now because it is consistent, now you decide, is it dependent or independent? How do you know it is dependent or independent? If it is independent, it will be the same line. Sorry, if it is dependent, it will be the same line. Now, is this dependent or independent? It is independent, right? Because they are two different lines. So you have to say they are independent. The solution is consistent and independent. So it has one solution. Here is the word for it has one solution. So this is how you need to solve. First decide it is inconsistent. Consistent means the lines will be different. I mean the slopes will be different. Okay, they're talking about two different lines. So if it is consistent, then check if it is independent or dependent. Independent means two different lines. Dependent means the same line. I hope this part is clear for you. Okay, so it has only one solution. Now, can we move on to solving the questions rather than seeing up and down? Let's move to the page. That's page number 355. I will do one question with you and then I'll give you some time to do the remaining. I'll do it here in this part. Now I am going to solve question number 8 because here the space is not enough, or it's enough, right? Because already this is in intercept form. So that's already in intercept form. I just need to be only changing this. So if I change this, if you see it's negative 2y. So to get rid of the 2, we have to divide both the sides with negative 2. So when you divide 2 by negative 2, that is going to give you y equals negative x. 6 divided by negative 2 will give you a negative 3. Okay, so y is equal to negative x, negative 3. Fine. So when it is, the first one is 2x plus 3 and this one is negative x, negative 3. So here, let me write that also up so that you will not get confused. Y is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay. Now, are the slopes the same? The slopes are different. Are the intercepts the same? No, they are also different, which means they are talking about two different lines. The intercepts are different, the slopes are different, which means they are two different lines. Now, how are we going to, so you can see that they are two different lines they're talking about. So what are you going to do? Now, you know the system is consistent because two different lines will at least have one solution. So you have to be writing it as the system. Okay, the system, I will just use short forms because there is no enough space here. System is consistent. Only write this consistent. Okay, and now once you know it is consistent, check, decide if it is independent or dependent. Is it dependent or independent? It has to be dependent because two lines will have one solution only. So you have to say it is consistent and dependent. So it has one solution. I hope that part is clear for you. So it has only one solution because it is consistent and dependent. So it has one solution. Now, let's do question number 9. question number 9, I will write the answer here because I don't want you to get confused there. So I will do question number 9 here. This is question number 9. Okay, now already this is in y-intercept form. All what we need to do is change this to y-intercept form. So once you change that, what are you going to get? You will have y equals negative 3x plus 1, because only the 3x will become negative and it moves to the other side. Now, check this. The first one is y is equal to negative 3x negative 1. Okay. The other equation you have y is equal to negative 3x plus 1. Okay. Now, what's the problem here? The problem here is that the slopes are same. What does it mean if the slopes are same? What did we learn from before? The slopes are same means they are parallel lines, right? If the slopes are same means they are parallel lines, and if they are parallel lines, they do not have any solution because parallel lines do not meet. So how do we know the system is having parallel lines or not? Just by comparing the slopes. If the slopes are same means they are parallel lines. Now if they are parallel lines, they have no solution. So if no solution means the system is inconsistent. This is only for parallel lines, so it's inconsistent. Inconsistent, so it has no solution. Why is the system inconsistent? Because they're parallel lines. How do you know they're parallel lines? Just by comparing the slopes. If the slopes are the same, they are parallel lines. So if they're parallel lines, they have no solution, which means the system is inconsistent. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes. Try to do question number 18. I'll give you the easy ones to do. Try to do question number 18 and then let's check the system is having how many solutions the system has. So do question number 18. Your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, are you girls done? I don't think you need much time because already one of the equations are in the slope intercept form. Y is equal to minus x minus 4. Only you need to change this. So when you change this, what are you going to get? You will be getting y is equal to minus x minus 4. So y is equal to minus x minus 4, y is equal to minus x minus 4, which means basically the slopes are the same, the intercepts are the same, which means they're talking basically about the same line. So again, I'm repeating, the slopes are same, the intercepts are same, they are talking about the same line. So if they're talking about the same line, the system will have at least one solution, which means the system is consistent, right? Because the same line means you can get many solutions for that. So the system is consistent. And now, is it dependent or independent? Dependent means it has how many solutions? Dependent means it has many solutions. Independent means it's one solution. So if they are basically talking about the same line, of course, if you can take many solutions from the same line. So system is consistent and dependent, which means so the system has infinitely many solutions. Solutions, it's going to be solutions. Okay, so this is how you are going to do there. Now, again, I will repeat. I know many confused faces will be there. I'll repeat this again. Once you change them to x-intercept, the y-intercept form, both of them have the same y-intercept form. Y is equal to x minus 4, y is equal to minus x minus 4, which means they are talking about the same line. They are the slopes are the same, the y-intercepts are the same, which means they are the same line in fact. So if it is same line, if the system is consistent, because from the line, same line, we can take many solutions. So because it is the same line, it is consistent, and dependent, because from the same line we can get many solutions. So that means the system is consistent and dependent. So the system has infinitely many solutions. Okay, now I want you to do some more questions. So that's going to be from the next page. That's page number 356. I want you all to try to do question number 20 and 21. Or if there is time, 22 also. But for now, quickly start doing question number 20. Okay, I guess you would have finished it by now. So this equation, I'm not going to change. I'm going to write the same. Y is equal to, oops. Fine. So for question number 20, the slope is going to, the equation for the first one is going to be the same. Y is equal to minus x. Y is equal to minus x plus 5. Okay, that's going to remain the same, only you're going to change this. So that's going to be y is equal to, again, x moves to the other side, that becomes negative x and plus 5. That remains the same. Now this, both the lines are talking, having the same slope, same intercept. So what does that mean? If they're having the same slope and same intercept, means they're talking about the same line. So if it's the same line, the system is consistent, right? System is consistent. Now please use the full words, don't use short forms like me. Consistent. And is it independent or dependent? It is dependent, because it's the same line. We can get many solutions. So system has infinitely many solutions. Okay, so because the slope is the same, the intercept is the same, basically it's the same. Remember yesterday in the video, they were talking about the math deja vu, which means it's the same. So it's the same deja vu here. This is the slope is the same, the intercept is the same, which means it's the same line. So if it's the same line, the system is consistent, because at least there will be one solution, and dependent, because it will have many solutions, because it's the same line, we can get many solutions from the same line. Okay, now let's try to do question number 21. So question number 21, already the first one, both of them are in the same form. Okay, so same form means y is equal to minus 3x plus 2, y is equal to 3x. Both of them are in the intercept form. Now in the intercept form, there is no intercept for the second one, which means the intercepts are different. The slopes are different, which means they are completely two different lines they're talking about. So when the two lines are different, at least you know they are two different lines, because the slope is different, the intercept is different. So when they're talking about two different things, that means they're two different lines. So you're going to have the system is it consistent? it is going to be consistent because two different lines will have at least one solution. They will meet only at one point. Now, is it dependent or independent? It is going to be independent because there are two different lines. They will only meet at one point. So consistent and independent. So the system will have the system has only one solution. Why one solution? Because they are two different lines, and they are having, if two different lines, they can only cross at one point, so that means it will have only one solution. So once you understand that it has only one solution, you can even go the other way and write it is independent and then it is consistent. That's all. Okay, now only as the last one, let's do this question. Y is equal to 2x minus 1. It's already done there. And this part, only we will change this. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. And the next one, that's going to be y is equal to 2x minus 1. Now again here, the slopes are the same. So if the slopes are the same means, slopes are same but the intercepts are different. So if the slopes are same, intercepts are different means they are parallel lines, right? That's what we have learned from before. So the slopes are same, intercepts are different means they are parallel lines. The parallel lines, they don't have any solution. So what you're going to write is system is inconsistent. So it has no solution. It went down, but it's clear for you. Okay, so because the systems are inconsistent, because they are parallel lines, you should know how they are parallel lines. The slopes are same, but the intercepts are different. So if the slopes are same and the intercepts are different, that means they are parallel lines. Parallel lines have no solutions, so which means the system itself is inconsistent. So this is what your lesson was all about. Now in tomorrow's video, I will of course be only discussing about the homework. I'm giving you different days because I want you girls to be perfect in this part. That's why I'm just taking one more day to discuss the homework. So I hope you will be able to do the homework related page. That's chapter 5 lesson 4. It's lesson 4, right? So it's going to be chapter 5 lesson 4 homework page 5.4 in your workbook. I hope you all will be able to do. If you have any doubts, you are free to ask me. You can message me anytime. I do respond however I can, however possible. Okay, but repetition of the lesson is allowed only if 6 or 7 girls don't understand the lesson. Only then I can repeat. And other than that, you can ask me any doubt. You cannot say you didn't understand the whole lesson. If you don't understand the whole lesson, you need to be watching the video again and again. But yes, in some particular part, if you don't understand anything, you are free to ask me anytime you want to. I hope the lesson is clear. Unless you practice, you will not understand what we are doing. So the only key is practice and practice and practice. Until I meet you guys in tomorrow's video, do stay safe and take care of yourselves.